All Even Live, episode 10. Last night was a good night. It's a great night. What's up? What's up? What's up? It's a beautiful night last night to be a Laker fan. Up 3-1. Feel good. Waiting on Mike Guido. There he goes. There he goes. Mike Guido.
Hey, pal.
What's up, man? Episode 10, All Even Live. How you doing?
Not bad. What's up, brother?
I'm just basking in the glory,
Oh, yeah. All that glory.
The fact that, Lakers are, one win away. Yeah.
And they're going to get it. They're going to get it soon.
Feels great. Okay? Feels fantastic.
What did I tell you? What did I tell you?
What did you tell me? You didn't tell me anything. Don't be this, prophesizer. What did you tell me?
Did I not say Lakers in 5?
No, you didn't.
No, I didn't?
No,
I didn't say Lakers in 5?
You didn't say that. You didn't say it. You didn't.
No, I didn't say that. Look at that big smile. No, when he gives you that smile, you know he's full of it. You know why your eyes are brown? Because you're full of it up to here.
Possibly. Yes.
That's definitely why.
All right, Mike Guido, let's get into it, man. Week 4 of the NFL. Your thoughts?
Oh, God. So I'm not certain we talked about this. I don't think that we have, but I'm going to go all the way back to. I'm going to go all the way back to Thursday night because I think this was the biggest standout of the whole week.
Yeah.
If the Jets needed any other reason to fire Adam Gase,
they got it.
It was, they got it. But here's the thing: everybody can completely disregard the first 59 minutes of that football game.
Yeah.
In the last minute of the game, right, when Broncos are up 9, the Broncos have the ball, there's about a minute and 4 seconds or whatever left in the game, and the Jets have 2 timeouts, but there's no chance the Jets are winning this football game. The game is over. Right? And then this freaking minute, it turned into 10 minutes, a long debacle of whatever this was.
Yeah.
I mean, Adam Gase uses both of his timeouts, forces the Broncos to run a play, forces them to run multiple plays.
Right.
They give Brett Ripien some pretty serious shots, right? They hit him
he was
pretty hard. McClendon went completely unblocked, and like it's just that's not the way you do it, right?
Yeah.
Adam Gase, Greg Williams, it's not the way you play football. It's not the way you play. If I'm the Jets, right, and again, this is dating all the way back to Thursday Night Football, so I don't want to spend too much time on this, but the Jets should be embarrassed. Like, the Jets as an organization should be embarrassed by that. Like, forget about the fact that Adam Gase is a bad coach, right? Because bad coaches happen. They happen in the NFL. It's whatever. You whiff on a head coach, whatever. You fire him and you replace him. It happens all the time in the NFL. It's not a big deal, right? The Jets should be embarrassed by how their head coach handled the situation. That was awful. Unprofessional, not coach-like. I mean, does anybody actually believe that any other organization, any other coaching staff, anybody would pull a stunt like that at the end of the game? Or do you think it would just be the Jets? Because I think it's just the Jets.
Maybe the Bengals.
I don't even think so, because I don't think Zach Taylor's like that. That.
I'm saying, given their history of being a terrible organization, I would expect.
Oh, no. History, fine. I'm talking about right now.
Oh, no.
Would any other team right now do that? No, of course not.
Yeah, just the Jets.
So that's takeaway number 1 for me, dating back all the way to Thursday Night Football. But there are plenty more that I'm sure we're going to discuss a little bit later on.
Oh, yeah. Listen, I really want to get into your thoughts about the Bengals getting their first win against the Jaguars. Listen, Joe Burrow continues to look really good.
He's good. Listen, I don't want to say I told you so to anybody. But but
he's not better
listen,
than Herbert.
I don't think I would agree with that. I think Justin Herbert's really good. Justin Herbert's really, really good. Let's not get it twisted. Justin Herbert's really, really good. I think Joe Burrow is different. Listen, whatever growth he showed last year at LSU, right? I mean, he's just a completely different football player.
I agree.
He did not. Okay, his first year at LSU did not it would have made him a 5th-round pick. Like he wasn't. He was a whatever player.
He wasn't impressive.
Right? No, of course not. Whatever happened to him in that year, I don't know what it was. Whether it was a mentality change, there was a difference in how he trains, or I have absolutely no idea. But Joe Burrow is now ridiculously accurate with the football. He doesn't turn the ball over almost ever. Right? He's poised in the pocket, despite the fact that the Bengals have quite possibly the worst offensive line in the league.
Yeah.
I mean, and honestly, we don't even know if Zach Taylor can coach, so I have no idea if that's even working for him. Joe Burrow is special. He's completing 65.5% of his throws as a rookie. That's really, really good. He's only got 2 interceptions in 4 games as a rookie. That's really, really good. He's on pace for 8 picks this year, which, again, for a rookie is really – even if – honestly, if you're not a rookie, 8 interceptions in a year is not bad.
That's a great year. Great year.
Right. Exactly. So I'm all in on Joe Burrow. The Bengals are going to stink this year. They're going to be a bottom 8 or so team in the league. And I'm okay with that, too. But I think Joe Burrow – is definitely the answer at quarterback. He's really good.
Should the Jacksonville Jaguars really consider that Gardner Minshew is their franchise quarterback? I like Gardner Minshew, man. Like, for some reason, I just believe that they don't really believe in him.
No, I think it's the exact opposite. I think they do believe in him.
You think so?
Yeah, I do. I mean, listen, Gardner Minshew, if anything, is a marketing tool, right? Like, everybody loves Minshew Mania. They love the jorts and the mustache and the hair and the bandanas, and they love that stuff. You know,
he's a character.
Sunglasses. He's a character. Yeah, listen, I like Gardner Minshew. I think he's okay. It's just, I don't know. He doesn't scream special to me.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like Gardner Minshew could be good in this league for a good amount of time. But he's going to be nothing more to me than, I don't know. He's Nick Foles. That's kind of who he is to me. He's going to be he would be a backup somewhere. He'd be one of the best backups, if not the best backup in the league. Right. I mean, a good comparison for him, and I think that a lot of people might agree with this, is Gardner Minshew is another version of Ryan Fitzpatrick, right? He's fair. He's got that character-ish thing to him, obviously, and Ryan Fitzpatrick in a good spurt of game. Ryan Fitzpatrick can give you, a good season or even a couple of really good seasons, right? Like, he was good with the Bills for a little bit. He was good with the Jets for a little bit. Like, Ryan Fitzpatrick can give you really productive seasons, really productive football games. The only issue is that I don't know if he's sustainable, right? His first year, he wasn't bad. I think he was a little bit overrated in his first year, right? 60.5% completion percentage. That's not great. You know what I mean? But touchdown to interceptions was not bad. 21 touchdowns, 6 picks. This year, he's got 8 touchdowns to 4 picks. He's completing 72% of his throws, which is fantastic to a group of receivers that I'm not impressed with.
Right.
So I think he's doing well. I'm not going to say he's doing poorly, but I don't think the Jaguars should automatically tie themselves down because I don't know if he's not special. He's a guy that you can throw in there and he won't kill you at quarterback. That's my opinion on it.
Okay, I mean that's fair, but I mean, does it make sense for the Jaguars to go quarterback hunting if they have more concerns other than the actual quarterback position?
No, listen. I don't think that they should jump like let's say Jacksonville, doesn't completely fall off the rocks, right? They're not a 2-win football team.
Say they go 6-10.
Right. Let's say they get the 11th or 12th pick or something like that in the NFL draft. I wouldn't reach for a quarterback then. You know,
Yeah.
if there's a BPA available that isn't a quarterback, then yeah, I would take that player and then worry about quarterback at some other point.
Right.
But again, it's so hard to say because you don't really know the situation. You don't know what the draft is going to hold, right?
Yeah.
If there are 4 quarterbacks that are must-haves in this year's draft and one of them falls to the Jaguars, then the Jaguars got to take him. You know, because again, I like Gardner Minshew. I'm not sold on him as a 15-year solution. I'm not. I think, could he be a 2-3 year stopgap kind of quarterback that won't kill you? You won't get the number 1 pick in the draft.
Right.
Like, you might even have a shot at the playoffs every now and again with Gardner Minshew. The Jaguars should want more than that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't think Minshew's a Super Bowl winner. I don't.
That's fair.
I don't see it with him.
Next game I'd like to talk about is the Packers and Falcons. Like, listen, we don't have to go into details about this game. Packers just blew the doors off of the Falcons. But
yeah,
the conversation that I want to have is it time for people to stop saying that Aaron Rodgers doesn't have anything left in the tank or he's getting older? Because for what I see, Aaron Rodgers looks really, really good. And his comments, I love what he said. You know, his average years are some quarterbacks' career years. I love that about that. I love the fact that he's a little cocky because it's like, I'm Aaron Rodgers. I'm Aaron freaking Rodgers. Like, I'm great. I don't care what people talk about me or whatever. Like, my numbers speak for themselves. If I have a down year, that's Gardner Minshew's career year. So leave me alone and let me do what I do.
Yeah. So I have a couple of different opinions on this.
Okay.
The first being that I don't know if the conversation, at least it wasn't for me, was that I never thought Aaron Rodgers was done. Okay,
I was hearing talks about he's declining.
I've heard that too. I never thought that even last year. I never viewed it that way.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers to me has, you know, even since last year and the year before, where people were saying, he's had down years, I still had Aaron Rodgers as like a top 4 quarterback in the entire league. Right? It was Mahomes, Wilson, Drew Brees, and Aaron Rodgers, who I had as the top 4 quarterbacks in the league.
Right.
And now Lamar Jackson is kind of, you know, sliding into that also. But Aaron Rodgers to me is still elite. He's still doing what he's done for the majority of his career. Right. I mean, this year, you're right. He's had a phenomenal season through 4 games. They've got 4 wins, 70.5% completion percentage, 1,200 yards. He's got 13 touchdowns. He's got no picks. So, I mean, that's the thing about Aaron Rodgers that we all love, is that he doesn't turn the ball over. He's extremely efficient, right? Like that's one of the things we love about him. And on top of that, he's uber talented. Yeah. However, here's the negative side. So you said you love that comment that he made, and I don't mind it, but I don't love it. Here's the reason. Okay. He's honest. That's one of the things that I'll give him credit for is Aaron Rodgers is definitely honest, and what he said was true.
Right.
Okay. Now, do I wish it wasn't as arrogant what he said? Yes, I do. But do I fault him for saying something like that? No, I really don't. He's Aaron freaking Rodgers. You know what I mean? 99.9% of the world would swap places with Aaron Rodgers in a heartbeat. You know what I mean? So here's the thing, though, is it's that sort of cockiness and that sort of arrogance that kills Aaron Rodgers. Kills him. And the reason I'm saying that is because it's not because it's in Aaron's own head, right? It doesn't affect Aaron directly. It affects the organization relying on him and only him. So notice this for a second. Devontae Adams is a really good receiver, right? He's top 5 or 7 or whatever receiver in the league. He's really, really good. Okay? He hasn't played the last 2 weeks. Allen Lazard is their next best receiver. He's an undrafted free agent.
Yeah.
Right? He had the game of his life in week 3, and he didn't play last week because he got hurt. Right? So last week, the Packers had 3 wide receivers on the whole team to play.
Right.
It was Marquez Valdes-Scantling, it was Malik Turner, and this guy named I think it's Darius Shepard. I think those are the only 3 guys that they had at wide receiver.
Right.
The Packers don't invest in the position.
No.
You knew this about this draft, right? You and I talked about it extensively. This year's draft, the 2020 draft,
had a lot of good receivers.
Quite possibly the largest wide receiver, the deepest wide receiver class that we've seen in a long time. I mean, there were going to be 50-something wide receivers that were going to go in this draft.
Right.
Like an absurd amount. 7 rounds of NFL draft go by. The Packers didn't draft one. They didn't draft one. So they and this is the funny part, they drafted every other position on the offensive side of the football, except for wide receiver, right? They drafted a running back, they drafted a quarterback, they drafted a tight end, they drafted a bunch of offensive linemen.
Right.
I'm like, they have drafted every position on the offensive side of the football,
except the person
except for
that
wide
catches
receiver.
the football.
Exactly. But that's the thing that I think kills the Packers, is there are times where the fact that they don't have the playmakers on the perimeter, it hurts them. And it forces Aaron Rodgers to be unspeakably great all the time.
Well,
and again, this is where I do think age comes into play, because I do think Aaron Rodgers is still great, but at 37 years old, you can't ask him to be unspeakably great for 16 weeks. You just can't. So that's where I think that kills him.
Well, I mean, to further your point, I mean, the organization, I think sometimes when you're as good or great as Aaron Rodgers is, the organization kind of takes things for granted, right? It's like, oh, we got Aaron Rodgers here. We don't have to worry about it. So we don't necessarily have to draft any great receivers. We can go get some undrafted guys and bring them in because Aaron Rodgers is great. He can make anybody look good. That's the problem. So there's some arrogance with the organization because they had this great quarterback. I can guarantee you
that's faulty thinking.
No,
again,
it's 100% faulty thinking. But what I'm saying is that if Aaron Rodgers were to retire tomorrow, and they would now have to turn the franchise over to Jordan Love, what are you giving Jordan Love to work with? Nothing. So they would
exactly.
They would actually
Devontae Adams and nothing.
They would actually have to try to do something that they haven't done in a long time, which is actually research, scout, and develop. They're not doing that. So, that's one of the things that I want to see Matt LaFleur put an emphasis on next season. Bring in some young guys. Give Aaron Rodgers more weapons, because the more weapons that you give the guy, the more dangerous he is. And I don't understand why.
And again, especially at this age.
Yeah, exactly. The more advanced he gets in age is the more weapons he needs. So, I love Aaron Rodgers. I love the fact that sometimes I want my athletes to be honest. We get that vanilla bullshit answer sometimes, especially out of Tom Brady. Oh, golly, Jay's
right.
No, I want you to be, I'm great. Everybody knows I'm great. I'm going to show you I'm great. I like to hear that sometimes, that there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? And for once, I was like, finally, we got some honesty. You know what I mean? Some real great honesty. It sounded like Jordan. That's what Jordan. That's something that Jordan would say. I like stuff like that, and there's nothing wrong when you can be able to say it once in a while. Every week, but once in a while, yeah.
I have nothing against confidence. So we just got a comment from my boy Alex Russell. If you haven't heard of Alex Russell, right? One of the best young up and coming rappers in the game right now.
Right.
The guy's straight heat.
All right.
But he said Aaron Jones is also pretty damn good. Listen, I understand Aaron Jones is very good, and I get that Aaron Jones he means a lot to that offense, because if it weren't for him, the offense would be incredibly one-dimensional. They wouldn't be able to run the football, right? But that's the thing, and that's part of why the Packers get bailed out by their lack of perimeter players, is because, yes, they have Aaron Rodgers, who is great. And again, it's a good point. They have a running game. They have a stable running game where Aaron Jones can take the ball and average 4.25 yards a carry.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's something that, is really undervalued. So, again, that's a good point. But I just mean perimeter guys that can get open, create space, create separation, and consistently catch the football. I don't think that Aaron has enough of those. Devontae Adams, again, is a great receiver, but then you're dealing with a bunch of undrafted, Marquez Valdez-Scantling is a 5th-round pick. Like
Right.
they don't
They just
invest
guys.
premium assets in the position. They never do.
They're
They
just guys.
never do.
Yeah, they're just guys. All right, man. Good point. Turning our attention to the Eagles against the 49ers. Eagles pull out a big win, 25-20. What are your thoughts about the Eagles? Are you, because you're a Carson Wentz fan.
Oh, yeah. I love Carson Wentz.
What did
I
you
hate the
see out
Eagles,
of
but I
what
love
did you see
Carson
out of
Wentz.
Carson Wentz on Sunday that would actually give you some confidence going forward?
I think the Eagles win the NFC East.
I mean,
Listen, I said this on
default.
Monday.
That's by default, though.
Well, here's the thing. I do think that it's by default because we know that Washington isn't winning it. We know that the Giants are not going to win the NFC. like they're just not going to. It's pretty much between Dallas and the Eagles, and Dallas looks horrible to start the year.
Yeah.
So again, the Eagles. Here's the thing that gives me confidence in the Eagles going forward. And again, I'm not saying that they're going to win a Super Bowl. What I am saying though is that if they get to the playoffs, could they win a playoff game? Yeah, I think they absolutely could win a playoff game. Carson Wentz right now, I know you're looking at me funny, but Carson Wentz right now is not having a good season. I'm not going to dispute that. He's not having it.
That's an
No,
understatement.
he's been putrid this entire year. Okay. However, the Eagles won a game in San Francisco in prime time. Okay? That matters. Okay, here's the difference between the Eagles and the Cowboys for me, because the division's going to come down to those two teams.
Yeah.
Okay. I've said this for weeks regarding Dak Prescott. Everything needs to go perfect in order for Dak Prescott to win football games consistently. Okay. Yeah. Everything has to go the Cowboys' way. The defense has to be good. The offensive line has to be healthy. All wide receivers need to be on the field. They need Zeke to have a good game. They need Mike McCarthy to have a good game plan. Like, Dak Prescott can't just – it's not like Dak Prescott can't win with one of those elements missing. He can't win. He can't win. So he sometimes can't win when all of those things are rustling through. Like, it blows my mind. It's unbelievable. Carson Wentz, okay, this is the difference between Carson Wentz and Dak. Carson Wentz could have you and me playing wide receiver, can have his offensive line banged up, can have Boston Scott starting at running back, and the Eagles can still win a football game. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy to me. That is bizarre that I'm able to say that Carson Wentz with Greg Ward. That's my buddy Tyler. That's my buddy Tyler Harris.
He says you're nuts. And I agree with him.
Wait. Let me address Tyler for a second. Because him and I used to do, I should say, we're trying to do it again. But Tyler and I used to bicker about this every day. He says Dak is a top 10 quarterback in the league. Get that garbage out of my face. Get it out of my face. He's not even close.
Listen,
you are going to be fighting with me to put Dak in the top half of the league.
We're gonna get to Dak. But let's get back to the other dumpster fire.
I agree. But I do think what this week showed me again for the Eagles is that they can win games when things don't go perfectly. San Francisco's a good football team, regardless of whether or not they got a backup quarterback. Nick Mullins is a very capable backup quarterback.
Yes, he is.
And Kyle Shanahan's a very capable offensive coach. I mean,
yes, he is.
George Kittle had 15 catches.
He was nuts.
The 49ers are a good football team. Again, I'm in on the Eagles to win the NFC East. I honestly, if you had to pick now, the Cowboys will go 5-11 or 6-10 or something like that, and the Eagles will go 7-8-1 or 8-7-1 or something like that and win the division. That's the way it looks for me.
That's fair. I mean, I'll put my little 2 cents on it. The more I watch Carson Wentz play quarterback, is the more I know that the Eagles are pissing their pants, because they're like, if this is the guy that we spent all of this money on to give him give him this big contract and move up in the draft and give up all of these assets, we're screwed. Mentally, Carson Wentz does not look like a capable quarterback.
Who's playing wide receiver?
I can't tell the difference between Baker Mayfield and Carson Wentz. They're the same guy. They make
No, they're
bad
not.
throws, they make bad decisions, and they're not that impressive. They're really
No,
not.
Carson Wentz
He's
is
not an
special.
impressive
Baker
quarterback.
Mayfield's not.
He's not an impressive quarterback. I don't know what you see, but you need to give me your eyes so I can be able to see it one Sunday, because I don't see what you see. Even when they were good, I still didn't see what you saw. Carson Wentz is not that good. He's not good.
I think that's
He
Louis.
has no
He's really
weapons, and he's struggling. When he had weapons, he struggled. And then on top of that, he's not doing.
When he had weapons, he almost won MVP.
Come on,
What are we
man.
talking about?
Come on, man. That's dating back how many years now? That's not the same guy. It's not the same quarterback. You can't keep
You're
going
crazy.
Carson Wentz from that point when he was an MVP caliber quarterback. He's not the same guy. He doesn't read defenses the same way. He doesn't move the same way. And he doesn't actually throw the ball the same way. I don't see any confidence in Carson Wentz. You need confidence in your quarterback.
Because he's got you and I playing wide receiver.
Doesn't matter.
Do I have to reiterate this?
Doesn't matter.
It does matter. It does matter. Right? We just talked about Aaron Rodgers, right? We just talked about how Aaron Rodgers they need wide receivers on the field so he can succeed to another level. Okay. Carson Wentz just won a game in San Francisco with Travis Fulgham being the #1 receiver.
Banged up San Francisco. That's not an impressive win for me. Okay, not impressive.
That's
win.
a very impressive. You think Dallas goes into San Francisco and wins that game?
Dallas is going to lose to the Giants next week or this week. We don't have to talk about who Dallas is going to lose to. They're terrible. They suck.
Agreed. But that's my point. Is Carson Wentz wins that game. Dak Prescott with his personnel doesn't win that game in San Francisco. Carson Wentz with that personnel does. How do you explain that? His offensive line's banged up, right? But his top 3 wide receivers are all hurt, right? D-Jax is hurt, Alshon Jeffrey's hurt, Jalen Reagor's hurt. They're all hurt. Everybody's hurt. Carson Wentz has Greg Ward playing wide receiver. The guy used to play quarterback in college.
And he still didn't impress me.
Okay, you're out of your mind, but okay.
Listen, turning our attention to the game of the week, in my opinion, and the reason why the game of the week is because it was the worst performance I have ever seen a defense show. I've watched football for a long time, Mike. I've never seen a defense this bad.
Oh, yeah.
Browns beat the Cowboys 49-38, and Baker Mayfield ends up, going downfield and just doing whatever the hell he wanted. They rushed for over 300 yards. Like, I thought I was watching college football. I didn't know that teams can run for over 300 yards in the NFL.
Yeah, keep this in mind, too. They ran for over 300 yards, and Nick Chubb got hurt in, the first quarter.
And their leading rusher was a guy named, Dearness? What's his name? Dearness what? Dearness something, right? 95 yards for a guy that I've never heard of.
I'm with you.
I don't know where they go from here. I honestly believe, Mike, listen to me. They're going to lose to the Giants. They're going to lose to the Giants.
I don't know, man. They could.
Listen to
they
me.
Could. No, they
They
could.
are going to lose.
Is it in Dallas? Is it in Dallas?
Is it in Dallas? I don't even know. But if it's in Dallas, they're definitely going to lose. And I said this on my show on Monday. Mike Nolan is a good coach. He comes from good, lineage. His father was a great coach. He's actually had some decent years as a defensive coordinator. But guess what? The last time that he was actually a defensive coordinator was back in 2014. And his defenses were in the 20s in regards to the defensive rank. So now we get a guy that, okay, Mike McCarthy says, listen, you gave me a job one time. I'm going to give you a job. So come in here and, do your thing. And we're seeing this confusing scheme, because I'm hearing all of these players say, the scheme is a little hard to pick up. But is it actually the scheme that's the problem, or the fact that these players are not showing any effort? Look at that wheel around play for Odell. I've never seen that happen, Mike, where Aldon Smith gets pressure, he backs Odell up 20 yards. At this point, when that happens on any other defense, that's a tackle. He doesn't get more than about maybe 7 or 8 yards on the reverse. He's not going to the house for 50 yards. How is this team so bad?
Okay, there's multiple reasons. There's multiple reasons why. The first being, and again, I do want to point this out. The Dallas Cowboys are paying DeMarcus Lawrence about $21 million a year, and he's had zero sacks in his last 12 games. So let's put some of the blame on him. The fact that our $20-something million pass rusher can't get pressure on the quarterback.
But before you go any further, Mike, he also said that the defense is soft. Doesn't it start with you, DeMarcus Lawrence? You're calling your defense soft. What have you done? What have you done?
Nothing. So the other reason is, here's the other reason. I agree with you. It is partially effort, and it is partially that the scheme is hard to pick up. And I think part of that has to do with the fact that there was not a preseason, and they couldn't get on a field against a real team and practice this scheme and get it under wraps and all of those things. They're trying to pick this up in real time when they're, you shouldn't try to be focusing on getting the scheme right. You should be trying to, win the damn football game. Like that's what your focus should be on, making a play. But, however, when I watched that play when Odell pretty much ended the game, I saw Joe Thomas miss a tackle. I saw Jalen Smith not
hot dog
even close to the place.
He was jogging.
Not even close to the play. Right, exactly. Not even close to the play. I mean, there is just a lack of physicality with this defense. There just is. I think you're right. I think this is the worst defense in the NFL. And I don't really think that there's a close second. This is the worst defense in the NFL. Now,
not close.
I do want to point this out, because it's not like the Cowboys don't have good players. The Cowboys have good players on defense. I still think Jalen Smith is a top-tier linebacker. He's just got to show it more consistently, right? I think Trayvon Diggs, and I've said this multiple times, Trayvon Diggs as a rookie looks great as a cover corner.
I think he's been the only bright spot on the defense other than Aldon Smith.
He's been fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, again, we talked about this also. The Cowboys can't prevent the big play.
No.
They have nothing on the back end, right? Those two safeties that they got starting, whether it's Xavier Woods, Darian Thompson, whether Donovan Wilson, whether it's any of those guys, they can't cover a big play. They get beat over the top way too many times.
Every game they've given up 40-plus yards.
And then when it's time to collapse the middle, right, against the run, you got your big defensive tackles who, again, analytically, Tristan Hill has been the worst defensive player in the league. You've got your defensive tackles and you've got your crashing safeties that go towards the middle of the field, right? They're not covering the pass. They come in. I mean, they're missing tackles. They're not clogging any lanes. They're not doing anything. Okay, so I think it's a combination of multiple things. It's a combination of not understanding the scheme, not putting in enough effort, not being physical enough, not wanting it enough. It is all of those things. I honestly, I don't think you can single it out to one thing. There's a lot of problems with this defense, and I don't think that there's a bright spot at any point in this season. It's just going to be bad for the rest of the year.
Yeah. No, I agree, man. I agree. So, did you hear what Jerry Jones and Mike McCarthy said, that they're actually close to being elite or figuring it out? Like, what are they watching? Like, I'm starting to really, listen, it's the first 4 games. You want to give this defense a chance to get their feet under them, right? Like, sometimes when there's a new scheme, it takes, especially with no preseason, we've never had this before. So maybe it's going to take them until week 7 or week 8 to actually get a grasp of what they're actually doing schematically, right? But Mike McCarthy is like he's the anti Jason Garrett, right? Jason Garrett was too passive. He would never, go for it when we're supposed to, like, we're really close, go for it on 4th down. He would be conservative. Yeah, Mike McCarthy's on the other side of that. He's too aggressive when we should be taking points and not taking so many risks. Why are we having such extremes right now with 2 different coaching staff? I don't understand this. Like, what is Mike McCarthy trying to do? Is he trying to prove that he can be this aggressive coach and put us in positions to be offensively have the offensive advantage, when in 4 games he's actually put the team at a disadvantage? Because if you're not converting on 4th down, or you're putting your team in bad spots, especially in special teams, you know that you have a bad defense. You're actually going to be even more super conservative now because you have a bad defense. Even on that play, they're down 38-41 after the touchdown, right? Why don't you kick it deep? Why are you trying to onside kick it? If you kick it deep, at least you give the defense, a chance to get a stop. Because at that point, Cleveland, they were out of rhythm. They couldn't move the ball. Baker Mayfield didn't look impressive. He didn't do anything great. So why would you now put your defense in a bad spot? You're giving them midfield. I don't get that. I don't understand. So for me, when the coach comes out and says that, and when Jerry comes out and says that, it's like the dysfunction is already starting.
Right. Well, what I think he's trying to do is he's trying to get the media off their back, right? Because here's the thing. The Cowboys' next 3 weeks are very winnable football games.
Correct.
Very winnable, right? You get the Giants, you get Washington, and then you get Arizona.
Yeah.
Right? You get those 3 teams. And again, I am not confident heading into either one of those any of those games. I'm not. Yeah. Based on what I've seen, I'm not confident in any of those games.
Right.
However, if the Cowboys win 1, 2, 3 of those games, right? Every week after the win, it'll be like, see, look, now we're right back on the horse. We're working out all the kinks. We had a good fluid week. We're going to continue this and everything like that. It's a selling point, right? It's all about, can we keep everybody happy while we're still trying to figure it out? They can win a game against the Giants. The Giants are, the Giants are a bottom 3 team in the league. They're awful. Okay. The Giants are bad. Washington, I think, is going to be worse with Kyle Allen than they were with Dwayne Haskins.
Yeah.
Right. And I think Arizona, they've kind of, again, I whiffed on this. I thought Kyler Murray was going to be one of the top candidates for MVP this year.
Me too.
And he hasn't been that. Arizona's kind of all over the place. So again, the Cowboys could, in the next 3 weeks, go 3-0, and everybody could be like, oh yeah, we could all be back on the Dak train, and say, oh, Mike McCarthy's got this team buttoned up and everything like that. I don't think you're going to see much of a difference. I think once they start playing real teams again, they start playing the Green Bays and the New Orleans and teams like that, real teams, they're going to look bad. It is just going to be a nightmare. So I think right now, I think it's to get the media off the back. It's going to say, listen, the next couple of weeks, we're going to be really good.
That's fair. Real quick, let's just, real quick about Dak Prescott. Your thoughts about the stat stuffing quarterback that he is. He's thrown the most passing yards through 4 games in NFL history. Your thoughts?
Yeah, they're all garbage. They're all garbage time stats.
Yeah.
I mean, let's really be honest, okay? Because this is just a fact about football. It's not even a fact about Dak. It's a fact about football, okay? When you go down by a lot early, okay, by a lot. So the score's 30-10 or something like that. I'm just throwing out numbers. But you're down by a bunch early in the game. you've got a lot of time to catch up, right? Because the other team's going to be running the football. They're not going to be playing as efficient of offense as they were in the beginning of the game when they were airing the ball out, right? So it's going to be a lot of clock management on the other side of the ball. Your defense is going to get a couple of stops because they're running the football and they're not really throwing the ball at, they're not getting big chunk plays. They're just trying to manage the clock. That's one thing. The second thing is that on the other side, right, the other team's defense is not playing real defense. They're playing prevent defense, right? Every single quarterback in the history of the NFL could torch prevent defense because that's what it's made to do. Exactly. All prevent defense is to keep the one big 75-yard play from happening. Right? You can have a 15, 20-yard play, a 15, 20-yard chunk play, and that's what prevent defense is meant to do. It's meant to force the other team to unintentionally manage the clock. Right? Exactly. Like that's what it's meant to do. So if Dak Prescott has 200 yards at halftime, okay, that's fine. He's going to have 350 yards trying to get back into the game. All of a sudden, the Cowboys are back in the game. It's just, oh, my God, wow, Dak's amazing. He got him back into the game. No, he didn't. He got them back into the game because the other team let them. Period.
Yeah. The other team
let them get back into the game.
They went to sleep on defense. When you're up 41-17, you're preparing for next week. You're not worried about this game. This game's over. You're just worried about, all right, just run out the clock. We're not giving up a 75-yard bomb. It's all about just, okay, we're just gonna make sure that we bend, we don't break. That's all it is. And for the first 4 weeks of the season, this is all we've seen. So
I need my W's. I need my W's. This is what I need. Okay, I mean that. You could throw for 5,000 yards in a game. Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah,
I don't care. Give me wins. Again, This is what I was talking about before with Carson Wentz, right? Same deal. Okay, I don't care if the defense gave up 50 points.
Right.
Okay, your defense is gonna be bad all year. Your defense is gonna be bad sometimes. You have to win those football games anyway.
Right. Yeah.
You have to. I'm serious. Not everything can go perfect for you to win football games. Not everything can go perfect. Yeah. You have to win football games despite things going wrong.
Yep, I agree. Let's get off this Dak train and let's turn our attention to Game 4 of the NBA Finals.
Can I address this really quick?
Yeah,
really
quick. Go ahead.
It is Dak's fault, and I'm not saying that it's not part of the defense's problem either. But the fact that Dak is down, okay. You have to take into consideration how good the Cowboys' offense is, right? That group of wide receivers is unbelievable. They've got Ezekiel Elliott, the top 3 running back in the league.
Best in the league.
Even when banged up, their offensive line is good. Like, you got to keep in mind, with Dak Prescott's offensive personnel, there's no reason why the Cowboys shouldn't be getting out in front in every single game they play. I mean,
100%.
Against the Browns last week, the Cowboys should have had 30 points at halftime.
Yeah.
They should have had 30 points at halftime.
Yeah.
The part of the reason why the Cowboys go down by so much is not just because the defense keeps giving up points, it's because we're not scoring them, right? That's part of it too. Yeah. We're not scoring.
Right.
The defense can give up as many points as they possibly want. If you're not answering back on that with that personnel, it falls on you, not the defense.
Yeah. No, listen, I will do you one better. I think when the game is tied or within a score in regards to Dallas being down, Dak is a below average quarterback.
Yeah.
He cannot,
no doubt.
He makes poor decisions. Let's think about that game. He threw for 500 yards that game, right?
He threw for 502 yards.
502 yards. He threw 1 interception. He could have thrown 4. If the Browns secondary knew how to catch, he would have threw 4 interceptions. And that's common for Dak. He makes a lot of poor decisions.
Right.
Because even that throw to Amari Cooper, right? The one where he threaded the needle, the two safeties ran into each other, whatever. If the safety takes a different angle, that's a pick six. That's not a touchdown.
Oh yeah.
This is the problem with Dak, is that whatever he sees, he's not seeing the right thing. He makes poor decisions with the football.
Agreed.
You can't win like that. You're not going to win like that. And he's going to put up all of these gaudy stats. Everybody's going to look, oh, well, look, he threw for 5,500 yards this year. But how many games did Dallas win? It doesn't matter. You can throw, like you said, you can throw for 8,000 yards. If your team finishes 6-10, what does it matter? What does it matter?
Tank for Trevor, baby. Tank for Trevor.
Listen, man, NBA Finals, Game 4. Lakers win 102-96. What was your takeaway from that game?
That LeBron James is the greatest player of all time. No, but in all seriousness, I spent more time last night being frustrated with the Lakers than I was happy.
I agree.
Now, again, I don't really think that that's going to matter, because I think the Lakers are going to win the next game and the series is going to be over, and the Lakers are going to win the finals. But here's the thing about this. Again, I want to point out that the problem that the Lakers have had from the beginning of the bubble is still the problem they have now.
Right.
They are not nearly physical enough. And it's one guy in particular, right? Anthony Davis needs to body some people up, okay? Anthony Davis should be averaging 13 rebounds a game in the bubble, and he's averaging like 6.
Yeah.
Like it blows my mind. He's 6'11" and has 12.5-foot arms. Okay, how is he not grabbing? I'm serious. The guy's a pterodactyl. How is he not grabbing every single board?
Listen,
how is he not grabbing every single board?
I'm gonna say this, Mike. I agree with you. Like, Anthony Davis there's times where he's very, very, passive on offense. Last night he was extremely passive on offense. But the one thing that I will give him is the fact that, man, did he step up defensively last night. He knew that he did not have a great offensive game, but he was not allowing anything to go to the basket. Kendrick Nunn was trying to, flip and go on the other. He was blocking that. Everybody was getting their shot contested, and that is the mark of a good player to me. When you know that offensively you don't have it, you now say to yourself, if I'm not going to score, they're not going to score. And that's exactly what
Anthony
he
Davis
did.
is great.
He had a sequence in that game where he hit the shot, he hit the 3, or did he have the block? I think he had the block before the 3. And I was just like, that's the guy. That's the guy I want to see. On LeBron James' side, we are so used to LeBron James putting up 35 points, 12 rebounds, 13 assists, that we are actually questioning if he's the finals MVP or not. He's averaging 29 points. He's averaging 11 rebounds. And he's averaging 9 assists. And he's shooting 54% from the field. And everybody's saying,
he stinks.
We don't know if
he's carrying.
We don't know if he's the finals MVP. Oh, he didn't that. Now listen, we were texting last night, and I was like, what is wrong with LeBron James? He had one of the worst first halves I've ever seen. In the last 6 quarters, the first 6 quarters or whatever, he had a combined 13 turnovers. 8 from game 3, he had 5 in the first half. And I'm like, what's wrong with him? I didn't know if he was hurt. I didn't know if he was trying to probe the defense. He was just making poor, careless turnovers.
He was making mistakes.
Yeah, he was making bonehead plays. But then the second half came. And LeBron James, he hit those couple threes in the third, started cooking, and then he started rolling. The 7 made free throws in the fourth quarter, that to me was the most impressive thing that he did in the fourth quarter. And I never thought that I would say this, Mike. I never thought I would say this. You ready? KCP got the game ball last night.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. He had a game.
KCP gets the game ball last night. I'm saying,
Oh, yeah.
I hate KCP, but he gets the game ball. He played phenomenal basketball yesterday. He played great defense. He hit timely shots, and he had a couple of really clutch assists. He played that shot that Anthony Davis hit. It was on Caldwell Pope's assist. He broke the defense down, found Anthony Davis at the top of the key, bang three. They're up 9. He was impressive, man. And Rondo didn't have a great offensive game. Remember, you were clowning Rondo. You were like, why does he keep shooting? Why does he keep shooting? Why doesn't Rondo sit down? I'm like, listen, we need playoff Rondo. Because at some point, playoff Rondo is going to show up, and he's going to give you a stat, or he's going to do something, and it's going to be like, man, this is why he's playing. That offensive
I was trashing Rondo all of last night.
7 rebounds, man. The guy. Think about this. I'm looking at the plus minus again, right? Think about the plus minus.
You're funny.
Think about the plus. Look, Anthony Davis
go sit down.
was plus 17 last night. Rondo plus 8. KCP plus 8. These guys made us win that game. You know, as great as LeBron James was, if it wasn't for those 3 guys in the fourth quarter, I don't know if they pull it out. But you know, history says, in regards to the Lakers, when they're up going into the fourth quarter, they don't lose.
They're 55-0.
There's never been a team in NBA history, Mike, that has been undefeated when they're up or going into the fourth quarter. It's never happened. This team is on the verge of doing that. This, you know, when we look back at the numbers, when we look back at this season in regards to like historical seasons or great championship teams, this team, very quietly, may arguably be one of the best defensive efficiency teams in all of basketball that we've ever seen.
Of course.
What they do when they get leads in the fourth quarter, they don't lose them. That is a mark of a great team.
Yeah. No, Nick Wright was saying something I think was really good. He said the Lakers this year, their fourth quarters are turning into Mariano Rivera ninth innings.
Yeah.
Like they get closed out. I mean, the Lakers this year were, I think after last night, are 56-0 on the whole season, playoffs and regular season, after leading, when leading into the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And this was another crazy stat also, is that recently 2 of the top 4 teams in NBA history, as far as best records when leading into the fourth quarter, are LeBron James led teams.
Are you
surprised?
surprised?
It's this Lakers team, and the 2018 Cavs were 50-1, 50-1 when leading after the fourth quarter. That's bizarre. So
listen, Mike,
I'm with you 100%.
I don't want to hear anybody talking about LeBron James ain't clutch no more, because if the idea of clutch is that you don't choke and you show up. When it comes to LeBron James led teams going into the fourth quarter, LeBron James does not allow you to crush him. He's going to make sure that he crushes you in whatever way. If it's points, if it's assisting on half of the points or the majority of points in the fourth quarter, he leaves his defense, he leaves his stamp on that fourth quarter. That's clutch. I don't need you to make a game-winning shot. I need you to make a smart basketball play.
I agree completely. The idea of clutch, and I did a segment on this a couple of months ago. The idea of clutch, especially in the NBA, but just in sports in general,
it's about last second shot.
It's really flawed.
Yeah,
right, because clutches are you hitting the last shot, right? Kobe and Michael Jordan are like the two, like they're the most clutch guys, right? Michael Jordan took a lot of those shots, and he hit a good percentage of them. Kobe Bryant took a lot of clutch shots, didn't hit a good percentage of them. He missed a lot of game-winning shots, Kobe.
Yes, he did.
But LeBron James has taken more game-winning shots
and
made more game-winning shots at a higher percentage than both of them.
Yeah.
And he's not clutch.
Yeah.
Like, it blows my mind the way that's defined. It really does. It really does.
Rich Bat made a good point. He said the narrative was created when they lost to Dallas, and they ran with that. Yeah, exactly. I mean,
yes,
like,
they did.
You know,
absolutely.
I've never seen 1 year define an entire career, and they only do that to LeBron James. Now, if I were to be able to do that, say to Michael Jordan, I can be able to say, well, when Jordan came back, the Orlando Magic blew the doors off of them and got to the NBA Finals. Nobody remembers that, right? Nobody remembers that. Or, you know, the years that the Detroit Pistons beat the hell out of him and he couldn't get to the NBA Finals. We don't think about those. We only think about 6-0. We only think about 6-0. There's a lot of playoff failures that Michael Jordan has had. But we don't define him by those failures. We only define him by his successes. So why isn't LeBron James held in the same account? Why? Because he has 6 finals losses? Name me another player that's been to the NBA Finals more than LeBron. If I'm an NBA player,
only 3 guys. Actually, 2 guys more won the same.
Sam Jones and Bill Russell.
Sam Jones, Bill Russell, and then Kareem's been there just as many times.
That's it. So if before my NBA career, I'm about to get drafted, Mike, right? And somebody says to me they have a crystal ball, you're going to get to 10 NBA Finals in 17 years. And there's no other dialogue after that, right? In my head, I'm like, 10 finals in 17 years. Okay, well, the next question I'm going to ask, can you answer this? Yes, the genie will say yes. Am I going to be the leading, like, focal point of those 10 finals? Yes, until you're very, very old, 36, 37. I'll take that. Give me that. Because if you're going to give me 10 chances to win championships, I may not win them all, but I'm damn sure going to win a few.
Yeah.
That's good enough for me. Like, we need to stop defining our athletes by rings. It's about the totality of your career. If you've had a great career and you've had the privilege of going to the NBA Finals and winning an NBA Finals, that's the icing on the cake. Everybody wants to win. But the fact of the reality is that everybody doesn't win. That doesn't make you not great. It's like Tom Brady. He has 6 Super Bowls. That doesn't mean that Peyton Manning is not as good, if not better, because in my opinion, Peyton Manning is a better quarterback than Tom Brady is. Peyton Manning revolutionized the quarterback position. This is a quarterback that didn't need an offensive coordinator. Brady needed one. So what are we talking about here? Why is rings or, you know, you having a plus finals record make you the best? Because if that's the case, then Kareem is better than Jordan. Then Bill Russell is better than Jordan. Bill Russell has how many rings? He has 12 rings, right? He has 12 rings. So why is he not the GOAT?
Oh, yeah. No, I'm with you 100%.
It doesn't make sense. People have to be more they have to be more realistic in regards to athletes. There's so many great players that played this game, and just because a handful of them have won multiple championships and a lot of them have not won titles does not take away from their greatness. Period.
I agree. LeBron Finals MVP.
Yeah. Finals MVP.
Without a doubt.
That's number 4. That's number 4, right? And if he gets 2 more, that means he's tied Jordan for Finals MVP, and then the people are kind of
you gotta remind people of this too. He ain't done yet.
He's not done yet. The Lakers are gonna run it back next year. And guess what? They may end up having a better team because I'm praying that Kyle Kuzma is gone after
Kyle, I wish Brandon Ingram was here.
Brandon Ingram was here. Kuzma. Danny Green, I think he's going to retire. He needs to retire. Like, just take the $15 million and just go. Just go. Because he can't play anymore. I can see the Lakers running this back next year. 25 seconds, Mike. You got the last word.
No, I agree with you, I agree with your little thing.
Yeah.
Barry. I really do. He ain't done yet. I think we could see another, we're going to see 11, 12, 13 finals appearances before he retires.
Possibly. Mike, it's been
See
real,
ya.
man. I'll see you next week.
See ya.
All right, man.